Hey there, and welcome to the Pawpaw Chronicles and More with Jim. Well, today I'm going to plant this tree real quick. You all have watched me plant trees time and time again. It's in a 3-gallon root trapper bag. And lo and behold, I've got a very special guest here. Tim, come on in. This is,
hey.
watch your step. This is Timothy Lane.
Hi, from Lockwood Micro Farm.
What we're going to do is, I'm going to plant this tree real quick. And I'm going to give a real quick explanation of what we got going on. First off, the ground that I have here, I dug it 18 inches deep and I refilled it back up with broken up dirt. This ground here, we're about 18 inches of topsoil. What I did with the soil here, and the reason why it's so dark, you can see how dark it is I put composted leaves in there and biochar to give the tree plenty to live off of. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the bag inside out. I made this jig just for that. Takes a minute to get it started, but once it's started, I'm good. And it looks like it's going to try to fall apart a little bit, but that won't hurt it.
I've been very impressed with this root trapper bag. They're ideal for this species.
Once you get it started, it's good, but look at all that root right there, Tim.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Look at that. That's a happy tree.
Yeah. So what we have here, this is a Susquehanna, by the way. It was grafted back in March, the 24th of March, in the house. And what happens with the root trapper bag, it traps that root and it air prunes it because there's little tiny pinholes in the bag. And it causes more root to push out. And basically what you end up with, the bag is a 15-inch bag. We had about 13 inches of soil. From the top of the bag all the way down to the bottom, you see root mass. Yep. And that is a big key for me, in my personal opinion, as far as any tree. You can see where the taproot even got stuck in there, and it won't turn. You don't get the circling like you normally do in a lot of plastic pots. Now what I'm going to do is, trade me sides.
Let's trade sides.
Yeah. That way I'm right here. All right. I find it really easy and handy to utilize a feed scoop versus a shovel because I got better control. I'm not even going to put any amenities with this. Well, wait a minute, let me stop right here. And the reason being is, I've come to find that this ground back here, it has everything these trees need. And what I'm going to do is grab this hose and give me just a sec. We're going to have to let this run for a minute because it's hot outside. Or not hot, but sunny.
Yeah, I don't want to shock the leaves.
Yeah, but anyways, the hoe itself, down in the bottom of the hoe, is the same as what's right here. And I try to follow Dr. Carl Wickham's advice. The hoe itself, if you look at it, the root trapper bag is 8 inches in diameter. We want to go 4 inches bigger, and we're talking at least 12 inches.
Yeah.
but the hoe itself is probably, I don't know, I'd say it's probably about 15 inches diameter, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, thereabouts.
Yeah. So, and we want to give them roots plenty of room to move. Another unique thing about these root trapper bags is you don't have to worry too much about air bubbles.
Right.
Because you're treating it like a giant plug. You just set it in the ground, water it in real good, and I'm checking the hose, see if it's cooled down. And then it'll find its way out. Normally I use mycorrhizas, and I'm not going to put mycorrhizas in this soil. There's mycorrhizas all over in this soil. That's pretty evident because of the trees I have here already.
Yeah.
But the tree itself was inoculated with mycorrhiza. So within that root ball, we have mycorrhiza. Now, what was on the outside of that root ball, once I exposed it out of that bag, it killed that mycorrhiza. And but the mycorrhiza is still attached to the root system, and it'll begin to regrow just like the roots do on the tree, and collect nutrients to feed that tree. And we've gotten cooled down. There it is. And we're going to start giving a little bit of water. And I don't like to really pump water to it real heavy and just keep water. I do it inundatedly, give the water an opportunity to just go down and start to sink down into the soil. I want it to get itself set up. I will boot the tree once I get it to where I want it to be as far as the soil level. And you can see the biochar washing up on the top right there.
Yep.
We got more soil to play with. I made sure I mixed up plenty of the soil that I need to get this tree in. The excess soil, I always find low spots on the property and spread it out there. Now this soil right here was more towards the bottom, but it's been treated just like the other soil was. So, but it's all from the same hole. You ever use a scoop like this?
No, I don't. I mix by hand mostly, and I don't really scoop. I use buckets, you know. Pour them. My method is a little different. I don't do as much augmentation. This seems like a better improved version of what I do.
I gave it a push just to give it that boot.
Yep.
Spouting it in where it needs to be. Actually, before I throw my last layer of dirt on there, we're going to go ahead and give it some water. See the little tiny root right here exposed?
Yep.
Believe it or not, a buddy of mine and I was talking, and he said he come to find in the seedlings, the ones that had that root right there exposed, was the ones that survived the winter. And he wondered what that was all about, and that was pretty interesting. He showed that to me. He's in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, right, they are riverside species, so they would have exposed roots on occasion naturally. That's something to think about. Interesting.
Well, that's a pretty tree.
Yeah, I was telling him earlier how well he grafts. He's very good at grafting. Some of the best grafts I've seen on my trip so far.
You didn't see no bubbles coming up out of there.
No bubbles.
So, you know, no bubbles means no air pockets. And air pockets will actually kill roots. And that's why we want to try and steer away from that. And the root trapper bag helps out in that greatly. Now, if this had been a regular plastic pot, you'd have had bounding down in the bottom like you normally do. You would have had to try to break it open, and then you got to fill in the dirt, and now you're dealing with air bubbles. You just created an air bubble scenario. The root trapper bag stops that from happening. Let me get this net over top of it. Something I forgot to grab is my maul hammer. Man, that tree's almost as tall as that. Yeah. That's a 3-foot fence.
Yeah, nice.
And I'm going to send this all the way. That's as far as it can. Hold on to that for me. Since I ain't got my maul hammer. Just enough to boot it in a little bit. And grab my zip ties. I like using these zip ties that's got a button on them.
Oh, yeah.
I can take them on and off, work on the tree.
Usable.
And let me turn this around this way. Got a split here. You got a knife on you? Got your key? There we go. Yeah, sometimes I come out here, I'm ill prepared, and then I got to run around and grab things to get back to work on. And 40%, this is 50% shade cloth. 40% shade cloth, I can fish this right through it, but this being 50%, it doesn't fish through.
Yeah, see, he uses shade cloth here. Where I'm at, I tend to avoid it because I'm at a higher latitude and we don't have as much sun. So, but this is a very good method for young pawpaws in the more southerly latitudes. They respond well to it, as he was telling me.
Well, the biggest thing about it is this tree right here was in a greenhouse, and it would absolutely burn up in here without it.
For sure.
But now I'll leave the shade cloth on during the winter. It'll give it some protection during the winter. And then come early spring, remove the shade cloth and remove the fence because I didn't got to worry about this whole area is fenced in. Anyways, well, there it is. Susquehanna. My name's Jim. If you like what you see, subscribe. Don't forget to click on that bell for any notifications. Any comments or questions that you may have, I welcome. You have a God bless day. Good deal.
Yeah.